Twin Bill, where you can get your fill of hosts Jason and Marcus talking about movies and stuff. You know you never can get enough. A twin is two people who are related. Twin Bill. This season is Razzie Mania. Hello, welcome to Twin Bill. Jason, Jason, what are you doing with that knife? I don't know. There's no good song about knife in your hand, like Hey Joe with the gun in your hand. All right, before we get to the fun with Friday the 13th, and when I say fun, I mean, well, yeah, I don't know. One movie's fun, one movie's not. Okay. Let's do a quick warm up. I'm doing musical improv as a class slash career. But anyway, I'm doing a class in February, so we're gonna do a musical improv game, and I think it's pretty straightforward. I'll just do a example and then make you do one. So, without further ado, give me a man's first name.
Steve.
Okay. One, two, three, four. I had a friend and his name was Steve. The do run, 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 the do run, run. He loved me without reprieve. The do run, 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 the do run, run. I'll only make you do one rhyme for this round. We'll do more in subsequent episodes. Stick around.
Foreshadowing.
Fine. Do it if you can remember what I did. Try to do it to the tune of the do run run.
Yeah.
John.
I had a friend named John. Do run, run,
The do
do
run
run,
run.
run, run. His favorite Dark Horse character was Spawn. Do
Do
run,
run
run,
run
run, do run, run,
run.
run.
Spawn's pretty cool. It's thematically fits these movies very well. But that's right. We're doing a change of pace on this Razzie Mania because usually we just talk about the bad.
Thief of bad movies.
Look at that filth. All right, so usually we just talk about the bad movie that got nominated, but we decided. I think I liked the movie way more than you did, even though you liked it. We both think Friday the 13th is way too good, and the Razzies were being on the.
Oh, compared to the other Jason movies, it's Citizen Kane versus whatever Fred the movie or the Room.
Yeah, and I think the Razzies had the same problem that Roger Ebert and a lot of critics had at the time, which is they're like, wait a minute, this is a movie from the point of view of the killer. It must be morally depraved and stupid, and they didn't consider it art at all. And I think that, and we'll talk a little bit more about Roger Ebert later. But all right, so without further ado, so the whole point of that was we're substituting a movie that is bad. You know, when I googled what's the lowest rated Friday the 13th movie, and Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday came up, I was like, that's okay. And then I watched it, and I'm like, I agree. That is by far the worst Friday the 13th movie I've ever seen.
I don't know. I mean, they're all terrible after number one, to be honest. But
Not to me. We can get into that,
Jason,
I guess. But
Jason Goes to New York is 100 minutes long, and it takes over 60 minutes to get to New York.
that is by far the weakest of the seven you got sequels. But I did like some of the pacing in New York more than especially when Jason Goes to Hell. But yeah, yeah. We'll get into a little bit. Or let's break down these movies. We got two movies to break down, so we gotta break down twice as hard or something like that. Uh, so the original Friday the 13th was directed by Sean Cunningham, who also produced the film, and historically he seems to either like or be better at producing than directing. Do you know what other horror movie franchise that you personally know I enjoy? He produced all four entries in.
Was there Four Howlings or something?
Way more mainstream than the Howling. It's the House franchise.
Yeah, it's
First,
more mainstream, I guess.
it's
after House 2, did anyone did they go straight to video after that?
Pretty close. Well, technically, House 3 is not even House 3, or it is House 3. It's confusing. It's a unrelated killer movie, but got on the electric chair called the horror show. Got called House 3 in Europe. It's very convoluted. You know. And then, man, the credits on Jason Goes to Hell are pretty depressing because most people did not work after doing that movie. But directed by your namesake, Jason Goes to Hell, Adam Marcus.
Yep.
Also the story credit on the screenplay. He apparently wrote Texas Chainsaw 3D, which is a canonical Texas Chainsaw movie that I have no context on or have heard of before.
Is that the one with Viggo Mortensen in it?
I haven't looked into it. It's possible. Different episode. I'm sure there's a some remnant of the Texas Chainsaw and Razzie list at some point.
Oh, never mind. That came out in 2013. Never mind. Viggo's in a when he in his younger days.
Yeah. So Friday 13th was written by Victor Miller, who literally did nothing else of note. He did have
Interesting.
some credits on popular soap operas as a writer. And
It's
then,
interesting because the setup's pretty good for the first one.
yeah, I would just think a guy that early in the business would just kind of fall into doing at least sequels or something, but I guess not. He did get money for every Friday the 13th movie that ever comes out because he created Jason and
Crystal Lake and all that.
Voorhees and yeah. You know. Jason Goes to Hell, much more colorful writing crew. Uh, Dean Lorey, who wrote a movie I actually liked called My Boyfriend's Back, a comedy about a zombie boy, but it's played more cute than you'd expect. Yeah. And you got a co-writing credit on Major Pain,
Dear Lord.
which we both watched at some point.
I don't think I watched it, or not that I remember, but
I must have watched it in a different class or something. I think it was a school day movie or something. Yeah.
I don't think quality when I see Damon Wayans movies.
But he's doing a weird accent. I shouldn't get canceled. Okay. And then accurate though. And then the worst name for a Hollywood person ever, Jay Hughley. How do you pronounce Huguely?
Maybe it's just Hugly or Hugely. I don't know, but
And then did you listen to that song I sent you?
no, I didn't get to it. What type of music was it?
I don't know. It's a that rare genre that sounds like a novelty song. It's a 70s story song about a trucker with a CB radio. It makes Convoy by C.W. McCall look like freaking Shakespeare on Ice. It's called The White Knight. Jay Hughley did most of it by himself, but he called himself Cletus Maggard and the Citizens Band.
Interesting.
I'm sure Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is calling. Not a good sign when the bad movie is written by a guy who wrote a bad song.
It's his writing skills, I guess.
Yeah. And then we're going to talk about this credit a little late in a second, but Jason Goes to Hell also produced by Sean Cunningham. So he may have produced every Friday 13th. I didn't look into that, but did a lot. And then the weirdest thing to me about these movies is the music. What did you think of the music in Jason Goes to Hell?
To be a completist, I watched Friday the 13th Part 3 and 8 to say I've watched all of them other than the remake. And the music sounds similar.
Well, that's the.
It's
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's a poor man's version of John Carpenter's like because he's good at it. John Carpenter does synthesizer on his own for most of his music.
Yeah.
That he writes better songs than this. It's just
I had a different experience. I don't know how you felt about this, but because the first movie, I liked the music, probably because it was more of a sparse movie to begin with, so it was less distracting and gross. But it's the same guy, Harry Manfredini, did both did both movies, and I thought the score for the first one was a lot better. But like maybe it was just because one of those mind association things where I was like, oh, this movie's good, and then
yeah. As the sequels progress, he kind of this Manfredini character, he kind of it's scored differently, and I think he scored Jason differently because you have to do those stupid musical cues every time he gets up, and he gets up a lot. Well, in this stupid movie that says zombie clones,
body leaping, but then not at the end, and
like shot and fall down, and then oh they're dead, and then oh they get up again.
yeah, that was the progression of the franchise. Super Jason just got more super. But yeah, the score. I mean, I guess the score is really just, but I find that entertaining. So, good job. And then, okay, let's get into the cast. Yeah, a lot more fun with the first movie. Like everything else. All right. I looked this up. The I guess quote unquote imagined mutant zombie Jason at the end of the first movie is played by a man, then much younger man at the time named Ari Lehman, and he's a punk musician who scores indie horror films. Didn't hear it, never heard of his music or his movies, but yeah,
Hmm.
yep. And
Does a
then
good does a good job in his small performance of jumping out and tipping over a boat
yeah,
canoe.
a lot of it is Tom Savini's makeup, but yeah,
Yeah,
doesn't mess it up. Yeah, yeah. And then Betsy Palmer as Mrs. Voorhees. She was a Broadway star. I don't know if you looked it
and
up.
a regular panelist on the original I've Got a Secret.
I was going to ask you that, but yes, that's correct. Made her a kind of celebrity, which I guess she worked pretty consistently for at least for a while up until 1980. I think she may have retired in the early 70s or something. Yeah. And then we have as Alice, the nice counselor and badass final girl. The actress's name is Adrienne King. She didn't do anything after she unceremoniously died in the second movie. I guess she died ceremoniously. Whatever. But apparently she's a prolific background voiceover actress.
She does have a weird voice because I watched a countdown show where she talked about the movie and she kind of has it's not quite Marge Simpson, but it's kind of in that vein type voice, in her like regular speaking voice.
But she has movies I've seen. Obviously she wasn't on camera, but incidental voices in Sleepless in Seattle and Carlito's Way. She even did some light physical stunts in Ghostbusters. Apparently,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's good for her. And I talk more about her and the characters and categories and stuff. But I thought surprisingly good job considering the genre and the limitations. But, yeah. And then, of course, we have Kevin Bacon as Jack, one of the counselors. So people can always say, hey, Kevin Bacon was in this movie.
Yep.
Now let's get to. There are some big names in the cast of Jason Goes to Hell, at least, to make it a little interesting. Uh, of course, we have. Guy won't shut up about how great he is at playing Jason. Kane Hodder as Jason Voorhees, and his cameo as mullet security guard who dies quickly. Just so you can be like, hey, that's a Kane Hodder cameo.
Yeah, I've seen enough Jason movies and seen him and stuff that I spotted him without having to look up that trivia.
Yep.
I, it's basically embarrassing to be able to spot Kane Hodder.
I went to college. And then a very annoying name to say out loud. John D. LeMay as Stephen Freeman. A very weird character in the movie. He's a generic hero man, but he always wears a Letterman's jacket and has giant glasses. Was he missing his glasses? Anyways, the actor didn't do much, although he is one of the rare actors who was in both the 80s Twilight Zone and the Friday the 13th TV show.
Interesting. Like a lot of people in this movie, I was like, oh, he looks familiar, and then I find out that nope, he just looks like other actors, I guess, because I've not seen him in any other things.
You could play like an office worker in a ensemble comedy sitcom or something.
Yeah, he was the basis of Rob Schneider and making copies,
But
copy
well,
Brahma.
I don't want to be too mean to him, but he's not really a good actor for comedy because he's not very like charismatic. But
You just said this generic office guy was a stupid joke.
I know he looks like a comedic actor, but he talks like a mealy mouthed dork. And then we have God, nothing on this character. She has no Wikipedia page, is a good sign. Carrie Keegan as Jessica Kimball, the single mom of the baby Jason wants to possess.
And the lover of a couple of actors I did recognize, Stephen Colt from Desperate Housewives.
Good catch, good catch. Uh, really, very awkward. Me Too esque backstage information. One of the screenwriters said making Jessica Kimball a mother was a bad idea because audiences wouldn't find her sexy.
Yikes.
I was not watching that movie. I was not like, oh, she better be sexy. There's no boobs in this movie anyway.
It's actually, and I think it actually helps the plot to her have a kid because it's the three generations of because that stupid thing about this is stupid, but at least it made it a little better that Jason can come back if he kills. Well, we find out jumps in the vagina of one of the three women.
With his like weird, fleshy briar patch looking pod, Jason heart. It's like a black heart with lines on it.
Oh, you're talking about the heart that the first guy eats. I thought I was talking about. Oh, I thought you were
Oh
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
the snake thing that he turns into.
Oh, that's the snake. Okay, it's gonna. I was gonna argue that the snake on the poster made no sense. Only makes slightly more sense.
It makes no sense. It's menacing looking, I guess, but
We'll get into that in a second. Uh, so I really like Stephen Williams as an actor, and his character on paper would be the best character in the movie, but he's just a freaking weirdo. Creighton Duke. Did you recognize Creighton Duke from a famous comedy film?
no, I read that it's been too long since I've seen Blues Brothers, so I saw that he was in that, but I didn't recognize him.
He's one of the cops who initially gets a fix on the Blues Brothers as criminals and chases them, and he's in most of the movie with the police entourage. He's a good actor. Stand by
He had
that.
terrible, some ter I wrote in my notes, he had some terrible line reads in this movie.
Oh no, this his characterization in the script was brutal. Like the part where he makes John D. LeMay break his fingers like 3 times or something.
And at the end, when he's worried about Jason going for the baby, which is fair in terms of the story, but he just has a terrible line read when he says, "He's going for you, baby," or something like that. It's just like,
He always has this weird smug. I guess it's supposed to be like a fourth wall breaking thing because he knows Jason Moore. I don't know. Moving on. Speaking of awkward characters, Erin Gray looking like she's like 50, 60 years old, playing a waitress with short sleeves because she's the Jason Voorhees' half sister, Jessica's mom. God, this movie's so weird.
yeah,
And of course, Erin Gray was on what? Cult classic 1970s science fiction television show?
no idea.
Buck Rogers in the 25th century. And then he's not a big character, but it pissed me off so much that he got cast in this part because it was just supposed to be funny for funny's sake. Ah, uh, Leslie Jordan as the little biker guy just so he can be the love interest of the gigantically fat diner owner who's also miscast. This movie is so
Yeah,
weird.
I don't think she was that big. But uh, she had a she taught like a mobster for some reason
She was kind of a bossy, mean character, so it kind of came out that way, I think.
from New York. Hey yo, give Crystal look over here.
And then Leslie Jordan, of course, always has to talk like this. Oh, I'm gonna get some sarsaparilla from the. I can't. It's like Paul. I'm doing more Paul End, but gay, high pitched voice
He's not gay in
thing.
this one because he's
He's always gay.
lover
He's
of
Leslie Jordan,
a woman in this movie.
which I think was the joke. But ugh. All right. Now I'm gonna get more into the more nitty gritty with the film reader criteria. So categories that film readers use. We do it every week on the show. So let's start with compare and contrast. I guess we'll do Friday the 13th first. So I don't know how much. Actually, you can go first, but I looked at the trailer, the poster, which is behind me, and the taglines.
Well, I think it's somewhat flawed because it is very cheap, but it's easily the most clever setup. Uh, Jason does make an appearance at the end, like we talked about, but the poster and the trailer, it's more about the victims than the killer because it's a mystery who the killer is.
Yeah,
Um, and so it's like the first seven of the films are people dying in cabins exclusively. But at least it's like unclear why it's happening and who be killing them, and then the so it's more intriguing on. Ooh, I have to watch this to figure out what's happening. So I think it's well done, especially in comparison to other Friday 13th.
yeah. Uh, yeah, I agree. I mostly agree. My general thought is like, this feels like a generic slasher movie, but this is like one of the first ones in the, truly teen slasher version. But also, I like these kind of movies, so I'm gonna like this too. And the trailer had some really awesome, like smash cut editing, and they use this graphic for I think like every Friday 13th trailer. But I love it with like it's like a glass wall, and then the white thing sort of goes like rah, and the glass breaks, and it's like Friday 13th. Psh. And so, yeah, I think it's effective. I'm gonna go first on the Jason Goes to Hell concept stuff because I took meticulous notes. So, okay, first of all, yes, even if the snake can be somewhat justified with the plot point, it looks stupid and kind of like a false promise thing. And speaking of false promises, so stupid. The movie's called Jason Goes to Hell, which already kind of hints at, hey, I think I know how this movie's gonna end. And then the tagline's literally like, go watch Friday the 13th, Jason Goes to Hell. It's the last chance you'll ever have to watch a Friday the 13th movie. And then the trailer was okay, but really sloppy. They didn't have a lot to work with because all the effects looked like shit. But the trailer made a like a what do you call it, factual error, because it's like Sean Cunningham, the architect of Friday the 13th, is back, and they make it sound like he's directing again. He's just producing. So it's a misleading lie, and Sean Cunningham's not that impressive anyway. So I gave it a 1 out of 10 if I give it a score out of 10. Because one of the worst marketing campaigns for a movie spoils the ending of the movie, literally.
And the lizard on the poster looks kind of like poop if you look at it too quickly. But it's not it's not the first or the last movie to have someone with a tenuous connection to advertise. I agree that I barely know who Sean Cunningham is, and I don't think people at the time really knew who Sean Cunningham was, but they do all the time where it's producer or executive coming back to the story or something. They do that. It's a Hollywood thing. Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, the trailer is generic action more than horror, and as we'll get into when we talk more about the plot, and we talk about a little bit. Uh, Jason's barely in this movie, and then the trailer. I mean, the movie's called Jason Goes to Hell, and it's not even called Friday the 13th. They couldn't even get the name because it switched to New Line when it was something else, Paramount, I think. Um, so it's all about Jason. He's barely in the movie, so it's if I go lower than what I could, but whatever. I don't know, somewhere down there.
yeah, it's pretty bad. Uh, I'll go first, talking about the characters in Friday the 13th. Uh, so yeah, I loved Alice's character. I mean, it's a little clunky with the acting and stuff, but it's kind of like this meek character who doesn't want to do it, and then she kind of has to step up, and it's a good arc. And you could argue it's full of generic counselors who are there to die, but I thought there was a relatively realistic tableau to the way they were presented, and I loved Mrs. Voorhees, even though she's in it for like 2 seconds, but such a great horror hammy character. So, uh, the glut of characters you forget about because they're generic counselors drags it down a little bit, but yeah, it's good. It's a good mix.
Yeah, been a while since I saw the first one. I guess I should have watched it again for this, but
No, I didn't either. I didn't either. So whatever. But yeah,
there's certain elements of stupid teenagers among this group, but I remember being less so than the other one, all the sequels, including Jason Goes to Hell. Guess they're not that stupid. Jason Goes to Hell. The only really the mobster diner woman,
yeah,
but eh, good teenagers and it was a good character. It was good to use a woman as the surprise killer. An older woman too, like that. Slightly older. She's not that old, but
yeah. For I agree. Yeah. As far as characters in Jace Goes to Hell, it seems like a lot of weird casting going on. Like I mentioned, our protagonist looks like a nerd, but he's not really played as a nerd. And Aaron Gray, it's like the director wanted to put these like people he liked or celebrities in it. So like Aaron Gray looks like she's a old woman dressed as a child or a younger woman. It's a lot of weird stuff like that. I was really let down by Creighton Duke's stream of consciousness persona and stuff. So I felt like it was trying to be like weird to be hip, but it just came off as like unrelatable and disconnected in characters and stuff. So I would get like a 3 out of 10. Like at least I guess it's trying something, but it didn't connect with me at all. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, pretty bad.
Uh, you can go first. The dialogue in Friday the 13th was good or natural sounding.
The original one, it's fine. It's not really none of these movies, even this one, which is the cream of the crop of the series. Straight from the center, bro. Uh, had great dialogue. Um, I actually like the dialogue to the killer before they reveal who it is and stuff. It's solid. Uh, the exposition in Jason Goes to Hell is out of control. Uh, so much of Creighton Duke having to explain all the details. You see, if he kills anyone else, you can't really kill Jason with anyone else. But the Voorhees family, now there's the secret, and there's a dagger. We
Yeah.
have to find the dagger. And it's like, and, uh, and they still have, and it's, they didn't need just to make it like a flashback to the original movies. You have to like, still have the sex crazed campers, including one that says, I'm Tony, I'm Tony Wonderful" or something. When he's about to have sex. What do you say? He says,
First movie or the new one, newer one?
you know what? He calls himself Tony the Wonder Llama.
Yeah. Movie thinks it's being like cutting edge Gen X movie by being like weird, but then it's just like uncomfortable.
And then he hands her she, he has a condom in his hand and she takes out and she's acts like she's gonna unpeel it and put it on, use it on him, and then she chucks it and smiles. And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with what you said. The dialogue didn't bother me. Obviously, on its own, like merits, it's not very. I'm talking about the first movie. It didn't. It's not like artfully written. You probably find flaws in like every line if you looked for them, but uh, I thought it was decent and relatively sparse, all things considered. Uh, yeah, Jason Goes to Hell. I mean, Creighton. We could do a whole show about remembering all of the shit Creighton Duke was talking about because he's like, he he has to he knows stuff about Jason and not just like lore. He knows what Jason's doing right now and why he's doing it, and he's explaining it to everyone. And it's just like way to ruin the mystique of your mystery character. But
this is not a long movie, but it felt like it because there's like 5 times. It's like less than 90 minutes. There's like 5 times when someone asks Creighton Duke, because Creighton Duke says, "I know how to kill Jason." It's like, "Okay, why don't you tell me?" And then he's like, $500,000. And then every single time he says that, the other person says, "I can't pay that." And then, well, then you're not gonna know. I'm like, just tell someone the secret, Creighton.
yeah, and weirdly, there's the exposition dump, and then there's also a lot of layered hints of people being mean or like callous to each other. Like Diner Lady is, I think, probably like the archetype of that. It's like a lot of swearing. It's just like it made me so sad watching that movie. It's just,
I think they do try to kind of explain that as the whole town's on edge because Jason has been killing people for every other dozens of people every other year for a decade now.
I don't know if we'll ever get to this. It's almost a plot hole. I think it's close. It's because the beginning of the movie is like, oh, he's dead, but then like in a very short amount of time, we have to get back to, oh, he's alive and he's here and he's gonna kill everyone. I don't know why they did that double turn with the he's definitely dead and then he's not.
You're talking about before the Marines shoot him 50,000 times or after that?
Yeah, after they shoot it 1,000 times, they have a so dumb a special in the diner that's like get your Jason's dead burger or whatever the fuck they said. There was some kind of special like Jason's
Oh
dead
yeah.
out of town, and then by the middle end point movie, he's back. I guess it's supposed to imply why the government's not helping them kill Jason this time, but whatever. Okay.
Because they're done, baby. They killed him. They killed him.
Yeah,
They stopped paying attention after he broke out of the out of their corner
the
office.
worst government ever, and then you get the doctor who is easily convinced to eat Jason's heart, but
Who knows what it said? We just saw a beating heart, but it might have said, "I'm delicious. Eat me."
yeah. All right. So yeah, let's do the structure of Jason Goes to Hell. The structure. What do you call it? God damn it! I don't have a name for it. Structure worksheet or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Uh, so yeah, we have the opening image of the movie, which is just basically a series of setups of like driving and getting out of the car for that uh, naked lady to lure Jason to the gunshots.
Hmm.
Not the most exciting opening, but I guess it's supposed to be a subversion, but it's not shot like a good Jason movie, so it doesn't really have the same effect.
Took a lot of chances with that setup where you're gonna be in a cabin by yourself, get naked, take a bath, and then once you hear Jason come, just evade him and run really fast to our trap.
Yeah, I guess it's make it harder for Jason to suss it out, but he doesn't seem like the most skilled murderer. Anyway, yeah. So who's the protagonist of the movie? Uh, I guess the protagonist is just uh, John, the guy, the sad sack nerd who
Steven?
wants to be with Jessica Kimball. Is that his name?
John's his actor name.
What's his name?
Steven.
Do run threw me off. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Stupid do run. Right. So I guess he's the protagonist. You could argue. No, I don't think Jason's the protagonist. They spent way too much time away from Jason for that to make sense. But I think they should have made cut out a lot of Steven's part and made Jessica Kimball the main character. But yeah,
Yeah, but I guess it's kind of a swerve because it makes you think that Diana, Jessica's mom, might be the main character.
yeah. She's one of the few actors I recognize. That would have made sense. But yeah. What's the ordinary world for Steven? I think his whole thing is that he wanted to be with Jessica, but they had a falling out years ago or something.
And I thought when he first appeared, I thought he was romantic with uh the mom.
So we're talking about Jason Goes to Hell on the structure timeline, and the movie's very vague on a lot of its setups. But what does Steve need to do to get out of the funk he's in and improve his life? And vaguely, they keep hinting he's supposed to get back with Jessica, but they don't really show it a lot, and it's sort of picked up and dropped off and on.
In a way, Jason helps him get his life back together.
Yeah, I guess the movie sort of, in a way, dropped us in the middle of the tension because we know Jason's alive. So I guess you could argue to improve the world, get rid of Jason once and for all. Evil dies tonight. The quote Halloween, whatever it's called.
'Cause this is still the greater Crystal Lake community. So yes, he has. Yeah, I mean, Jason takes Manhattan. He finds his way to New York, but it starts. He's still stalking people on a boat from Crystal Lake. So yes, the entire community get a sense of relief if they can finally get rid of Jason.
Yeah, so it's not quite Jason being protagonist, but it's like his victims being protagonists. Anyway, so what event changes Steve's life and sucks him into the story? It's pretty much figures out that Jason's still alive and killing people.
It is kind of one thing in particular because I think he's kind of a bum mood. I'm not even sure what he does for work, but
Uh,
I think he's kind of depressed around town. And then I think either way it would have been at what's Jessica
Jessica
the mom
Kimball?
the mom's
Oh, Mrs. Kimball. It's probably not even Kimball. That is Diana Kimball.
if Jason didn't show up in the his second form of the bald cop, um, she would have told him that he was the father of Jessica,
Jessica's the main girl. Yeah.
Jessica's baby, and it would have motivated him to get back together with her. Um, But instead, it's just Diana gets killed when Jessica's coming back to town to visit, and his life gets changed that way because he's suspected of the killing of Diana because uh,
Mm.
Jason in cop form gets away from the scene, so he's suspected, so he's thrown in jail.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy plot move. And where are we here? Sorry. Oh yeah. Uh, this is a weird one because it's like, what is the quote unquote fun and games? The entertaining activity that goes in the middle when the protagonist first figures stuff out, as hinted at by the poster. The poster is meaningless. Jason's mask with a snake coming out of it, phallic looking snake, by the way. So I guess the fun and games is that Jason's killing people, and you got
Yeah.
the body leaping thing that's supposed to be fun, but it's just messy, samey Jason killing.
Jason Killian, we've established by basically number two that Jason's supernatural, and if you shoot him, stab him, electrocute him, throw him off a building, he can get back up again. So it's the fun and games of how are our poor townsfolk going to overcome such a superpowered serial killer who only wants to kill people. The odds are stacked against them. So how are they going to figure out the way to beat him? Uh,
Yeah,
there's way too much exposition to explain how they can.
and I mean the name of the movie and the fiery flames in the poster and stuff. There's sort of the anticlimax fun and games thing too. It's like, wait, he's gonna go to hell in this one? How is that gonna work? And it's pretty direct, but yeah. Uh, uh, so what obstacle? This is a weird one. What obstacle uh, takes the protagonist's joy away from them? And I don't know. This movie's probably not structured very well because it's so short and it's so full of like kills and stuff. But I guess you could argue. I mean, probably the Dark Night of the Soul is Steve getting arrested for Diana's murder, and Creighton Duke being a dick to him because he's a dick to everyone. And
Literally breaking his fingers multiple times just to give him factoids about how he could kill Jason. And then, but then it's like a continuity error because I'm like watching, oh, is he gonna shake his hand and like have it be in a cast? No, immediately it's like no effect. So you
but
hear
yeah,
violent snapping of fingers, like, oh, it's gonna fuck up his hand the rest of the movie, and then his hands are fine the rest of the movie.
yeah. But I mean, it does sort of like get ticking clock, raise the stakes, the going to jail thing.
In the moment, it's raising stakes, but then they don't stand at all. So
Yeah, and then he doesn't kind of gets away with it once he gets out of prison and stuff. But
then in fact, he's handcuffed and made it, and he jumps over the handcuffs with both of his hands so he can get it, so he can it's a super athletic move after breaking his hands.
yeah, yeah. We'll get into more stuff in a second. I mean, the motivating action that allows him to overcome his moment of sadness and get back into the climax. It's pretty straightforward. He breaks out of prison by taking advantage of nice guy cop stealing his gun and driving around and basically chasing Jason. There's not like a clear like epiphany or anything like that. He just sort of keeps going.
Yeah. Well, he's energetic. Yep, more than any other killer, more than Freddy and more than Michael. Jason's the Energizer Bunny that way.
Yeah.
keeps going and going.
Yeah. So the ending of the movie is a hot mess, which is exemplified by this question: How is the protagonist's world and the end com- compared to the beginning? They sort of imply by just logical steps that he's probably going to be with Jessica now, and he's not going to get killed by Jason. But they don't really clarify how his life got better or what his job's going to be, or just kind of Jason's gone in the end. Please leave.
Grabbed by the weird kind of Muppety looking hands from the ground. Um,
I don't know those. Yeah, that yeah. We'll get into the ending in a second. Right now, actually, because the closing image of the movie. I mean, aside from like you said, there's those loafy, fingery things that are very bad at their jobs because they grab Jason and they're like, "Oh, we'll just grab Steve while we're here," and they almost
oops,
grab.
never mind. Because I was like, well, Steve's going to hell because they got a pretty good firm grip on him, but she just pulls him away a little bit, and they're like, oh, my mistake. We'll just get Jason instead.
And then of course the iconic ending. Probably the only thing anyone will remember about this movie, because it's so uh, bad in hindsight, is that Jason goes to hell, and somehow his hockey mask is on the Earth, which doesn't make a ton of sense because it's attached to his face. But anyway, this dog is sniffing it, and then Freddy Krueger's hand comes up and pulls the mask down. That's a sequel that's definitely gonna happen.
Eventually.
Not with this production team or studio, but yeah,
Yeah. And also the piece with Steve, Jessica, and um, the baby. I don't know if the baby has a name. And then walking off into the sunset. It's
yeah,
also the last final image of the film.
yeah. It's kind of both. I remember the hand a lot better, but yeah. And I said this multiple times, but the title of the movie and the ad campaign made this ending totally stupid because it's called Jason Goes to Hell. And guess what? He goes to hell, and the hand comes down. Uh, and also, does the opening and closing things match? It's kind of like what we were talking about in our last episode about the formula. They match on a basic plot level. The movie ends with Jason being Jason and wanting to kill a girl, and it ends with him being dead forever in hell, or however to describe that. But I would argue that it's kind of lame because, uh, you know, on the one hand, it's a big thing because he goes to hell and he's dead now. But at least once or twice earlier in the movie, they implied Jason was dead. So it kind of like you got a false ending, and then you have an ending that's like the false ending but more real. It's kind of clunky, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. They pick kind of the problem because I think you're more of a screenwriter than I am, but when you kind of build interesting things happening on the way, and then you kind of figure out the ending at the end. Uh, they kind of put the cart before the horse, and they picked the ending when they thought was the first thing they thought of with this movie.
Yeah. Well, that's the. I mean, behind the scenes stuff. Apparently, for multiple movies before this, Sean Cunningham was like, "I know what the next Jason movie's gonna be: Jason versus Freddy Krueger." And then everyone's like, "You can't do that." And he just kept coming up with ideas to like fill in the gaps. And if this movie was supposed to set up Freddy versus Jason in like 1995 or something, I can't imagine. It's just me. There's no connection to Freddy Krueger thematically or anything. Yeah. So yeah, if I had to rate the structure, yeah, it's a hot mess, and I was bored and confused, and like you said, it felt longer than it was because it's just filled with so much crap in the middle. 2 out of 10 on the structure, and
Yeah.
I would just quickly say the Friday 13th. Uh, it feels a little generic at times, but uh, definitely much cleaner structure, and it throws in those twists at the end with the mom and the zombie boy. Much better. Yep. All right. There's a reason I made you watch all 8 films. I guess I didn't have to, but because it's time for the trivia break. So basically, I wrote 8 questions, one about each movie. Let's do it. So the
Okay.
first the first movie features the actual killer as Mrs. Voorhees. Spoiler alert: she's Jason's mom. What is Mrs. Voorhees' first name, and how does she kill Kevin Bacon?
We'll do the second part first because uh she grabs him by he just finished having sex and she grabs him by the head and puts an arrow through his heart, like from beneath the bed,
That's
basically.
correct. Can you guess her first name?
Linda.
Pamela Voorhees. All right. Friday 13th, Part 2 features a first time resurrected Jason with a sack on his head. Among the returning characters is our old final girl Alice before she's killed, and what insane coot who yells at people that they're gonna die. You're gonna die! First name only he needed.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Billy the Coot.
He goes by Crazy Ralph or Ralph. My friends call me crazy. Uh, Part 3 is in 3D and features Jason's hockey mask for the first time. What Toby Hooper film was the only horror film that made more money in the year of its release?
Is that when Poltergeist came out?
Yes. Part 4 features the first appearance and murder of Jason by what character? First and last name required.
Tommy Jarvis.
Yes. Part 5 features a copycat Jason revenging the death of his son. What profession did his father have at the beginning of the film when we didn't know he was a murderer?
EMT, ambulance driver.
Yeah, I put paramedic, but it's yeah, guy who comes out of an ambulance or whatever. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Part 6 features Tommy Jarvis accidentally resurrecting Jason at Jason's grave. Who played Tommy's best friend slash early murder victim? I'll take the actor name or the famous sitcom character he portrayed.
Lee Snow played Rorschach or Horshack. Rorschach is a Watchman. Horshack.
Yes.
What's his?
Ron Palillo. Part 7 has Jason up against a psychic girl. Who played the girl's psychiatrist who was secretly trying to amplify the girl's trauma induced powers? I'll accept the actor name or the comedy, in quotes, movie franchise he's most associated with.
It is the guy from Weekend at Bernie's, isn't it?
Yes, much more serious performance. Well, less dead, I guess, more accurate, but Terry
Although he,
Kaiser is his real name.
although he gets killed by like a weed whacker, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Seven's a pretty good movie, but it's definitely got silly elements in it. I liked it. Uh,
One of the
part
better ones, yeah.
Part 8 features Jason on a boat and briefly in Manhattan. What breed of dog is Rennie's dog, who goes by Toby, who gets lost but is later found for plot reasons?
Gets lost multiple times, the stupid dog. Leash that damn dog, you can't. God damn it. Makes me mad as a dog owner. Anyways, uh, that's one of the ones I just watched to complete the canon. Uh, is it Border Collie?
It is a border collie. Ironically, the smartest and most easily to go leashless dog in the world, probably. Yeah.
Probably most defensive of its owners, but like poor dog gets scared and runs away. It's like his
Yeah.
thing.
All right, back to the review breakdown. I guess I'll go first. Whatever. Uh, talk about the pacing of the movies. Uh, Fri Friday 13th, you could pick apart, the deciding when to do kills, and it gets a little plotting at the beginning. But I thought it was a good atmosphere for a slow burn horror movie. Uh, One of the rare times I'll praise Jason Goes to Hell. The plot was a mess, and I didn't understand it. Uh, and it did feel boring at times, but at the same time, they were trying to do actiony things at times. So I'll give it like a 6 out of 10 for politeness. But yeah.
Sorry, what's the category
Pacing,
for number one or number nine?
only rating 9. We can talk about both.
Uh, Pacing, yeah, it's not the weakest part of the movie. Uh, yeah, in fact, it moves around pretty fast. Um, I'll give it lower than you because it's not. I would never say it's slow. One thing I have to give credit for the Friday 13th is people get killed at a very uh brisk pace, probably too brisk. But it's kind of choppy. I think it's slow. It's slow, and then it's catching up on kills and catching up on Creighton Duke finally telling someone about the secret. Holds on to it too long and it gets himself killed. So we get Creighton. So we fucking get deserve it.
Screw you, lady from Buckrock, Aaron Gray.
Not her. She's
Uh,
got it rough, but Creighton Duke's an asshole because he knew the secret. He could have told everyone in town, but he let several people be killed before he finally tells Steve and Jessica. It's just what an asshole.
yeah, what's the pacing score? Or what?
Three. Fine. It's just so choppy because it speeds up to the second half. It doesn't match. It should be a smooth flow. It's not very smooth.
So you go first. Tone, which I describe, I guess, as the how successful is the movie at creating a mood, and how potent is the mood of the movie.
The mood. I have to go very low on this just because it actually makes the movie more watchable because if it tried to be take itself seriously, it can't do that either. But that's a combination of the two. So it's camp and bad seriousness. Campy parts are probably a little better. Uh, as much as he wasn't well cast, the gay Southern guy, but he lit things up when he was in it, I guess. It's very uneven, like the whole movie. So three, I don't know.
Yeah, let me briefly say Friday 13th. I really like the tone. They did a good job of the naturalism of the what camp counselors would be like with the horror, and it got kind of like not sci-fi, but more genre horror weirdness at the end. So there's a lot of I was pulled in. This movie, yeah, this movie, the tone feels like cheap horror movie that was done poorly. It's like the acting is just so distracting, and it just jumps around all over the place, very jittery, gross, mean spirited. It was a tonal mess like the rest of the movie. So yeah, 2 or something. Yeah. Talk about the originality of the movie. Friday 13th, real quickly, it's a kind of mixed bag. Like I said with the poster and the ad campaign, this feels like it's been done before, but it kind of did it first, and I still enjoyed it, but I wouldn't say it's original exactly, so it's kind of high mid, like a 6. And Jason Goes to Hell, while in execution it's miserable, it's almost too original. They want to do on paper it's a body swap horror like The Hidden. I don't think you saw that movie with the aliens instead of Jason. But anyway, but then it becomes a Jason slasher, and it's got the Creighton Duke stuff and the diner, and it's very original to the point of being unpleasant because you're like, what is going on? But they did try a lot of junk, so I give it a fairly high score on originality.
Yeah. Yes, it's the only body swapping in Jason, and I should have thought about why I only wanted to do body swapping because it's not a good idea. It's kind of a waste of Kane Hodder because while the first Friday team is better, well, there's no Jason in that. But anyway, in 2 through 4, I guess it was. Well, I guess five. Five, it's an imposter Jason. Uh, so I guess it's 6 onwards. It's Kane Hodder. And I think Kane Hodder is much better at the movements than the Jasons in 2 through 4 were. He has a better look too. And so he's in it. So he's in the end, and then you could see him in reflections. But then it's not original when it's like the killing the horny campers and stuff.
Yeah, real quickly, talk about the Kane Hodder thing. That was one of the most off-putting things. Was it was a generic Jason movie, and they had that black guy with the gray hair doing it. It really stifled a lot of the thrills of a Jason movie. Yeah.
Then he wraps up a guy in bondage to transfer to him, and then yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't know. Just being different and bad. I don't give credit for originality. It's like a philosophy thing. So low, 2. Got
I mean, we're not going to greenlight this movie off of the originality, but yeah, it's fine. I agree. I agree that originality should have a positive attribute to it, not just like it's you know crazy, but
so yeah, it's like if you gave Jason a sombrero and be like, that's different. That's original, isn't it? And it's like, yes, it's original, but why does he have a sombrero? And it's just,
yeah.
although I
Uh,
really watched that movie.
I'll go first, real quick, about the marketability, which we basically changed to how excited would you be to tell a friend that A, you've seen this movie, and B, they should watch it. Real quick, Friday 13th, no brainer. Not only is it a good movie, it's like the first teen slasher ever made, and it's excellent. So 10 out of 10 on that. Jason Goes to Hell. I feel like people would judge me if I told them to watch this movie. The only thing is, it's famously bad, and it's famously weird, and it's a milestone in the Jason franchise. So I could see some nerds who would like it, but this is like a sex crime if you tell someone to watch this movie. But it feels like so icky.
Yeah, I agree. The original one, uh, pretty lazy, I think, just to give a teen slasher a Razzie nom. I don't know. So it's not worthy. It's like if you're gonna block out October to watch the origins of slasher movies one year, I think Friday 13th original has to be on your list. Um, Honestly, big critical movies to the birth of horror, birth of American horror, I'd say, because it's like Halloween, Evil Dead, and this. They all contribute. Um, but yeah, I guess ultimately Jason Goes to Hell is the worst of the Friday 13th Jason movies. I watched number 3 in preferences. That's really terrible. Um, Fun
Really?
fact, in number 3, when you were on 1 versus 100, when it was 100 celebrities versus each other, whatever, 100 smart people and celebrities versus each other. Remember that one?
What show is this?
1 versus 100, when it was
Oh, yeah, the guy next to me, Larry Zerner.
he plays the stupid guy, lonely guy who feels the only way he has a personality is if he pretends to scare people.
And then he
Became an
retired.
attorney.
He retired from retired from acting, became a lawyer. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but yeah, like you said, the plot's so bad. Number nine. Uh, I can't recommend it less unless you're so bad it's good. I guess it has appeal for that because
But
it's
this ain't the room. You're not gonna laugh at it. So, but
there's the what the fuck was that when the Jason Snake jumps up the dead mom's vagina, but
keep saying that. That's not an advertisement.
and then that's what magically causes Kane Hodder to reappear. Ta-da! My magic trick. Snake up dead woman's vagina causes serial killer to appear.
And people do praise the Creighton Duke thing, which I agree that Stephen, like I said, he's a good actor. He gives it socks. He tries. It's just too much. Slow down. Stop talking so much.
Avoid at all costs, basically.
Yeah. Let's briefly go through. We're gonna wrap up pretty soon, I think. But let's go through the Razzie nominations. There's only two. It was nominated for Worst Picture and lost to Can't Stop the Music. Obviously, shouldn't have even nominated, and is like a million times better than Can't Stop the Music.
Agreed.
And then, so sad. The only other nomination was Betsy Palmer for Worst Supporting Actress, which she lost. But I mean, she did a good job in the movie, and she's very old and like semi-retired. It really bothers me to pick on a woman like that, but yeah.
Nice. They're picking on this movie for how cheap looking it is, and they picking on Betsy Palmer because she had done something before.
Yeah, but I thought she did a good job. I mean, I know it's a little campy when she's like, "Mommy, do you want me?" But it's like, I want my horror villains to talk like babies. Yeah, so that was the only two nominations, fairly light. Uh, Real quick, you can go first. One sentence and score for you can do the both movies or just Jason Goes to Hell. It's up to you.
Original Friday the 13th. It's not perfect, but it's good for its genre, good for its era, good low budget. Actually, it compares well, not as good as the original Evil Dead, I would say. You know, in the wilderness, getting stalked by it's not really a supernatural thing, but it kind of feels that way. It essentially is supernatural based on the other sequels. I'll give it a solid 8. And like I said, with Jason Goes to Hell, it looks better than a lot of the other ones. I think it had more of a budget, especially in the camera. The shadows actually look good in the diner when the big fight scene there, for instance. But the plot's so weird and dumb. Uh, they made it the unforgivable mistake of they should have just had Jason somehow come back from the morgue, to be honest, because I guess it's repetitive from the other ones, but you went too original to have a coroner, a cop, a TV host, and then another cop be Jason instead.
Hmm.
It's a horrible idea. Uh, it's like a one. Why bother?
Yeah. So I'll get some critical insight as well. So Roger Ebert had a real attitude against slasher movies, including Friday 13th, the original, because he thought it was exploitation and pro killer movies and stuff. That's ridiculous, but yeah, it executes the genre really well. It's shot very well considering how cheap and not a big Hollywood movie it is. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I would give it a 10 out of 10, but that's like for like every I don't want to compare it to like Citizen Kane or something. So nine's good. And then I just want to read this review from the New York Times because it really summarizes my point of view on Jason Goes to Hell from Stephen Holden of the New York Times. Jason Goes to Hell thrills on close-up gore. Such gratuitous sadism gives the final Friday an edge of sourness that is unusual for a horror movie. It doesn't help that Jason's intended victims and the actors who play them are pallid sitting ducks. So yeah, the movie's gross and uncomfortable, not well plotted, and the characters slash actors, I don't know who to judge, but they're awful. So I give it a 2 out of 10 because the camera worked or something, but it's god awful. But yeah, you know. All right, Marcus, before we go, let's see if you can guess the next movie. So you know how it goes. I'll give you a clue, and you guess the movie. Just rapid fire, just to try it. Okay, our next movie was directed by Soylent Green director Richard Fleischer.
Guys, one of those guys direct a lot of things. Around this time, Altered States.
You wish. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, co-stars Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz Jr.'s daughter, Lucy Arnaz.
What the actual fuck? Funny Lady. I don't know. What's going on?
Uh, it's a remake of a landmark technological achievement film.
Remake of a landmark technological achievement. The Jazz Singer?
Yes! A movie I've seen before! Neil Diamond's
Lucille
illustrious
Ball's in that?
Lucy Arnaz, the daughter.
Oh, whatever.
Yes. Neil Diamond's star-studded musical. Laurence Olivier doing a Jewish accent. I watched well, I've seen the movie, but watching the trailer, they really playing up how this is like an Oscar movie. So hopefully it'll live up to that expectation. And we'll find out next time on Tween Bill. Book me on your shows, or let's be best friends and hang out maybe. I don't know.